that pacemaker, G. I got something to say.
The Yellow Vest Posse.
H-E-L to the P, coming at you now.
The Yellow Vest Posse.
Well, you might see me cruising in my old folks ride. Blinker's been on since I got inside. You thinking I'm a folky shuffleboarding old time, but I'm a Lions Club member and a real good rhymer. You know I dress to impress, fly as I can be. Wear my yellow vest whenever doing good deeds. I might kick it in the park, head over planting trees, collecting eyeglasses to help the kiddies see. Lions Club, no time for rest. Lions Club, oh, we be rocking the vest. Lions Club, straight up, we're doing more. Lions Club, let me hear you roar. Come on, bowling in my driveway, I might look pretty lame, but I'm a Mac Daddy neighbor, volunteering is my game. I can mend a broken stump pump, know how to dig a stump, rubbing shears in my hand, I'll make your rhododendron jump. See, I got skills to amaze you. Hold on, I'm gonna raise you. Got a dry turkey sandwich? I mayonnaise you. Oh yeah, I'm a million your sandwiches. Lions Club, no time for rest. Lions Club, stuck on rocking the vest. Lions Club, philanthropic to the core. Lions Club, back up, we're gonna roar. If rap is what it takes to get a message out, then I put my gums in motion, let my words be flowing. You got a flag football team, I start coaching. Yeah, flag football. You see, I'm more than a guy out selling raffle tickets. I'll be the hungry, help the helpless, tell the